So I just came back from the movie theaters after seeing the Super Mario movie for the first time, and I've got to say, I really enjoyed the movie. This movie may not be as mind-blowing compared to other anime movies, with the inevitable Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, that one looks amazing, but for what this is, it was a really fun and very charming movie. After finishing my first viewing of the movie, I honestly ended up having a good smile on my face, from going from the beginning to end. It was definitely a really fun time. So I thought, why not, since the Mario movie is in everyone's mind right now, make a little video on my personal thoughts about the movie, about the characters, the story, and everything. But before we do so, I should mention that I am going to be spoiling the hell out of this movie. I gave you 2 warnings, and this is going to be my final one, so you've been warned. So, when it comes to the Mario movie itself and the hype around it, when it was first revealed in 2018 that Illumination was making a Mario movie, I was honestly not really that enthused. Now, I really love the Mario series and everything, but I just never really trusted Illumination. And what also didn't help was the voice cast reveal back in 2021, where it was revealed stuff like Chris Pratt as Mario and such, which honestly made the entire internet laugh because how ridiculous that casting choice was at the time. But as the months go on, people eventually started to warm up with these cast choices, especially with Charlie Day as Luigi and especially Jack Black as Bowser. I remember people just simply betting money that Bowser is going to be the best part of this movie thanks to Jack Black, and spoiler warning, they were definitely right, because Jack Black was amazing as Bowser. So before we get to the story, I think I should talk about my thoughts on the characters themselves. We'll do them in order based on how they were revealed in the casting choice. So the first one, and the main man himself, Mario. Now this version of Mario is a lot more grounded compared to his game counterpart. Throughout the movie, we see him have some emotional struggles throughout, mostly because that everyone keeps beating him down, especially with the fact that a lot of people just make fun of him for being short. And as for Chris Pratt's performance, well, this has been a thing that's been going throughout the hype for the Mario movie, which is that Chris Pratt's voice seemed a bit off in the first trailer, but eventually as the trailers went on, and especially when we watched the movie, it really grew on me, and it was a pretty good fit for this interpretation of Mario. The best way I could describe it is that if the game Mario had a bit of a more deep Brooklyn accent. Overall, while I still prefer Charles Martinet as Mario, Chris Pratt did a pretty good job interpreting Mario in the movie. Next we have Peach. So this variation of Peach is very much similar to the one in the old Mario comics back in the day, where Peach is a lot more capable in this version compared to the game parts, where she's mostly the damsel in distress, but here she is mostly in charge and very powerful. Especially unlike the games, where she's not the damsel in distress somewhat in this movie, but instead that's been taken by Luigi. I honestly didn't mind this approach because I feel like the story wouldn't fit too well if it was Peach being kidnapped in this movie, considering that this is an origin story. Peach pretty much shows Mario the ways of the Mushroom Kingdom while they try to save Luigi. And also, even if Peach was the one who was being kidnapped, why would Mario be willing to save someone that he just met? That's why I feel like Luigi being kidnapped fits better, because Mario loves Luigi, he's his brother. He would be willing to risk his life to save Luigi. And speaking of Luigi, there's really not that much to talk about for Luigi because he's pretty much identical to his game counterparts. I like how despite him being a lot more scared in the setting he's in, he's willing to help Mario out even with dangerous settings. And I've got to say, Charlie Day as Luigi is probably the best casting choice they've done in this movie. Even more so probably from Jack Black Bowser, which is already an amazing casting choice because Charlie Day just nails Luigi. And speaking of Jack Black Bowser, I had high expectations going through this movie that he's going to be the best part, and my expectations has been expected because holy crap, he is just amazing in this movie. As I said with Peach, she's kind of similar to her comic book variation, and that's pretty much the same way with Bowser. And honestly, I cannot expect anything else because he is just so funny in this movie. I was honestly expecting him to be a lot more threatening compared to his Mario Galaxy part, and he is threatening like in Mario Galaxy, but he's also a lot more comedic. This is honestly the funniest Bowser we've gotten since probably the Paper Mario games. I just laugh out loud every time Bowser goes fully googly eye on Peach because it is just so funny. One of my favorite parts is like when he's announcing to his army that they're about to invade the Mushroom Kingdom and he's announcing that he's going to propose to Peach. His entire army was just purely confused. I also just like how he just burned one of the Koopas alive. And also, I find it funny how Bowser ended up hating Mario, because it was not because he was stopping his plans, well he did, but it was mostly because he was just purely jealous of Mario. I was very curious on why Bowser is worried about Mario, and I could see why, which is pretty funny. But also, it can be very intimidating at times, because when Luigi got captured by Bowser, and he figured out who Mario was, his plan is just to straight up kill Luigi to get to Mario. This is why I find Luigi getting kidnapped have a higher stakes compared to Peach, because with Peach, Bowser kidnaps her, but she's pretty much unharmed. But Luigi, on the other hand, he would just straight up kill him. Overall, Bowser's scenes were just a great experience. Next is Toad. I'm going to be a bit brief on this character, but Toad was just a really fun character. He seems like a nice guy to hang out with. He kind of disappeared at the near end of the movie, but overall, he was just a really fun character. And last but not least, the big ape himself, Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong was a pretty good ally throughout the movie. There was a bit of a conflict with Donkey Kong and Mario having a bit of a rivalry, but I don't know, I feel like it was a bit undercooked, but still, Donkey Kong was just a really good time. He was honestly the weakest main character in my opinion, but he's still a lot better compared to Cranky Kong, which honestly was literally the weakest character in the movie. And he was the only character that we never heard a voice from next to Donkey Kong, but Donkey Kong was pretty good in the voice department, but Cranky Kong, no, he is not really good in this movie. I don't know why, but it looks like Cranky Kong, but it is not Cranky Kong. He is not literally that cynical, he's not fourth wall breaking. It's just Cranky Kong, but with a comedian's voice. So yeah, overall, great character lineup. It is honestly some of the best character interpretation we've gotten from these characters, especially with Bowser. I'm telling you, this is the funniest Bowser we have ever gotten since the Paper Mario games. So yeah, overall, just a good time. Now for the story of this movie. So the movie starts with the exact same scene we've seen in the first teaser trailer, where Bowser takes over an icy kingdom full of penguins and stolen the Power Star. The next scene we shows the Mario Brothers in the commercial that we saw at the Super Bowl, but it's a bit more expanded with them doing the trademark Italian accents that we see in the games, although a bit more cheesy. This is when their former boss appears, Foreman Spike, where he makes fun of them for their dying business. Mario tries to retaliate but fails because Foreman Spike is a lot bigger compared to Mario. This is when their phones are in the ring, where they actually did get... This is when someone actually calls their business and actually asks for an appointment. Once they reach the resident's house, they are immediately attacked by their dog after Luigi accidentally stepped on his bone, only for them to destroy their bathroom and almost kill their dog by accidentally throwing him off a 3-story building. And I've got to say, out of all the characters that were introduced in the Brooklyn section of this movie, this dog has to be the most Illumination-based. I swear, if you showed me the clip of him closing that door and you told me that was from The Secret Life of Pets, I would believe you in an instant. Somehow, despite all the crazy power-ups Mario will get in this movie, all the crazy action, somehow, in some way, this bathroom plumbing scene is the most out-of-place moment in this movie. But anyway, so after that appointment failed miserably, Mario and Luigi enters their home. Now this was actually the most interesting part of the Brooklyn section because we actually get to see Mario and Luigi's family. But most importantly, we get to see Mario's father, who is voiced by Charles Martinet. Basically, their father is disappointed that they started working at their own business instead of working at a state job. And even worse, that he believes that Mario is bringing Luigi down with him. Upset, Mario decides to go into his room, where he plays Kid Icarus. I also like the little R-wing he has on top of his TV, but Luigi tries to comfort him, and they decide to go into the news, where it turns out there was a massive flood. To prove their father wrong, Mario and Luigi decide to go out and try to help fix this mess, where they find themselves in this weird area of the sewers. After investigating the sewers, they end up going through this weird pipe that sent them into this weird interdimensional area. Mario tries to latch on to Luigi, but they end up getting separated, where Mario lands to the Mushroom Kingdom, where Luigi ends up in the Darklands. Now, before all of this happened in the dinner section, I should mention is that there's this one scene where it's revealed that Mario does not like eating mushrooms. Now, that honestly took me by surprise, and I was wondering how Miyamoto reacted when it came to that storyline. But anyway, so Toad explains to Mario that Luigi's in serious danger, and they have to warn the princess. Meanwhile, Luigi landed into the Darklands, and himself getting encountered by a bunch of dry bones. Luigi was able to get to a castle area where he could lock the doors, unfortunately getting immediately captured by a bunch of Shy Guys and Snippets. And I've got to say, I really like the scene where, like, it just shows them in a flash of lightning. I never thought you would make Shy Guys look so intimidating like this. But forget the Shy Guys, they made Dry Bones unironically terrifying in this movie because, unlike their game counterparts, they are completely ravenous in this movie. But anyway, so Mario and Toad ends up in Peach's castle where Toad tries to distract the guards, while Mario tries to get to the princess. Peach is trying to discuss with the Toads on their strategy against Bowser. Peach decides to talk to Cranky Kong, who in this continuity is a king of an island, tried to form an alliance to stop Bowser with Cranky Kong's army. Mario was able to find Peach, where she immediately slams them onto the floor, but is immediately surprised to see that another human is in the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario explains to Peach that his brother is in trouble as they've been separated and he's in a dangerous area. Peach agrees to take Mario to this journey, but only if he completes a challenge. She takes him to a little training area where he needs to complete this platforming course. But not just that, but she also gave Mario a power-up to help him through this course. Although he was extremely hesitant to eat it because he does not like mushrooms, but once he did, he was able to grow big. And then suddenly I Need a Hero plays as Mario trains through all night long to get to the course. And Mario is just terrible at it as he keeps falling off the course, only to lose his power-up, and he constantly has to eat the mushroom again. And this leads to a really funny moment where Mario once again tries to eat the super mushroom, grows big, but immediately throws up and loses the power-up. Meanwhile, at Bowser's castle, Bowser makes an announcement they're going to invade the Mushroom Kingdom. Now, this was when the biggest whiplash for the movie for me happened, where it immediately goes into Bowser's true characteristics in this movie. In the marketing and everything, it shows that Bowser is this evil tyrant that's trying to take over the world, but in reality, all his plan is to try to marry Peach. The reason why he stole the superstar in the first place is to convince Peach to be married with him. One of the Koopas asks Bowser what happens if she rejects him, and then he immediately burns him alive, turning him into a Dry Bones. That honestly gave me a good laugh just because out of nowhere that came. I honestly like how everyone was just shocked and confused on Bowser's plan. But yeah, Bowser is pretty much trying to marry Peach in this movie. Later on in the movie, he had this little piano solo where he sings how much he loves Peach, where Kamek interrupts him, saying that a human has appeared in the Mushroom Kingdom. This pretty much makes Bowser terrified because he feels like that this human is trying to steal Peach from him. So once the Shy Guys turn Luigi into Bowser, he decides to interrogate him to see if he knows anything about this human. Luigi then says, after threatening to pull off his mustache, that his name is Mario. Bowser asks if women find him attractive, then Luigi just says if they have good taste. Bowser then sends his entire army to find Mario, and then says that he'll kill Luigi later. This is when Luigi gets sentenced to the dungeon, where he finds himself with the Penguin army, and this mysterious little Luma who just says morbid-ass things. And all the King Penguin do is just try to suffer through it because he just lost his entire home, and now this Luma is just trying to rub it in and make it worse. Meanwhile, with Mario and Peach, they were able to get to the Kong Island, where they get to find Cranky Kong, where he agrees to let him join the army as long as they fight Donkey Kong. Now before the trailer started, I was wondering how they're going to implement power-ups so they wouldn't be too much of like a plot armor. But the way they implemented it was pretty interesting because there are a bunch of power-ups all around the arena, but some of them are good while the other ones are just duds. As Mario tries to find a good power-up, he ends up shrinking himself with a mini mushroom, which was honestly surprising. That power-up was pretty much just a handicap in the first new Super Mario Bros. Game. But he was able to eventually beat Donkey Kong with the cat power-up, and so they head back to Peach's castle via the carts. They decide to take a shortcut from Rainbow Road, not before Bowser's minions try to invade them. Now this is a great scene. I really love the action and the intensity with this cool spectacle of the Rainbow Road. I haven't seen this much color since I've watched Puss in Boots last year. But anyway, so eventually Mario and Donkey Kong fell off Rainbow Road, with Peach and Toad heading back to the Mushroom Kingdom. This is when Mario and Donkey Kong have this little quick argument before escaping a giant eel that they've been swallowed by. Meanwhile, Peach and Toad confronts Bowser, where Bowser threatens to kill Toad if she doesn't marry him. Peach agrees reluctantly, so they are heading to the wedding. And so, Kamek makes the great announcement that they've been all invited to the wedding, only to be sacrificed by Bowser. But luckily, during the wedding, Mario and Donkey Kong made it back to the kingdom in time, where they could stop the wedding and save Luigi. And I've got to say, I really love this action scene where they try to get up to the castle area. It is really cool, especially when they use the power-ups, like Fire Donkey Kong. That is something I've never seen, but I really love. But anyway, so the wedding is fully prepared. All the guests are here, including King Bob and King Boo, which is honestly a cool treat to see. But anyway, so at the chapel, Peach pulls out an ice power-up and pretty much turns into Elsa, and then throws Bowser frozen solid. This is when they decide to drop the chains, where, luckily, Mario was able to save Luigi in time from being killed. At rage of seeing Mario interacting with Peach, Bowser then breaks free of the ice, then throws a Bonsai Bill at the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario was able to lure the Bonsai Bill to a warp pipe, the one that it came from, only for him to get sucked into it and get launched right back to Brooklyn. But not just that, but Bowser's entire floating castle appears in Brooklyn too. In rage, Bowser decides to try and kill Mario once and for all. Luigi appears hiding into a dumpster, and then Mario tries to retreat into the pizza place from earlier in the movie, only for Bowser to mock him, calling him a coward. So throughout the entire movie, people just keep calling Mario a nobody and a shorty. This is when Mario really gets realized that he cannot do this. And this is when the final push of his motivation came in, where the commercial from earlier ago, the cheesy commercial we saw, was his motivation, where it says he will save Brooklyn. I'll be honest, I thought that was a bit lame. I kind of thought they were going for, like, him and Luigi together, because Luigi is still out there in danger, because that was his entire motivation in this movie, try to keep Luigi safe. So once Mario pulls himself together, he then leaves the pizza place, trying to confront Bowser, and this is when the superstar appears outside from the castle, and he tries to grab it. Bowser tried to do one more fire breath on Mario, only for his fire to get blocked by Luigi. They then grabbed the superstar and became invincible. And after one really epic final battle, I've got to say I really love these action scenes. They were able to defeat Bowser, concluding this movie, with Bowser finding himself in a small jar. I can hear the DeviantArtists out there right now. So yeah, that's pretty much the recap of the entire movie. And overall, I thought the movie itself was pretty good. Finally had one huge issue, and this is kind of a major one that I've seen a lot of people complain, and I agree, is that the pacing in this movie can be a bit too fast-paced. Because once we start with Mario entering the Mushroom Kingdom, and then we get to the training, I was like, huh, we're here already? But I do feel like the pacing in this movie does get better in the other half of the movie, but for the first half, it does feel a bit too fast-paced. But if there's one praise I can give this movie, undoubtedly, is the references and fan service throughout the entire movie. Sometimes it can be a bit over-excessive, like the Princess in Another Castle reference, but overall, I really love the references, like how they go to Bob-omb Battlefield and such. It's just really joy to see, like, all the stuff I used to grow up with in high quality on the big screen. And I'll just say this is honestly one of the best animated movies I've seen in a while. Sure, it's not really stylized compared to other movies, but it is just really surreal just seeing, like, characters that I grew up with in such high detail. Like, I really love the design, like how Mario has actual worker clothes, like, for example, he has a collar shirt, kind of like what you see in a worker setting. And I feel like they have more potential with this little film series and this Mario. And I feel like this new continuity for Mario has a bunch of more potential. Like, for example, Peach is canonically not from the Mushroom Kingdom. She was an orphan that the Toads raised, for example. That is something interesting that they could follow up for a sequel. And speaking of sequels, they have one more post-credit scene at the end that does tease future stuff from the Mario movie series. When the movie started to end, I was about to leave until the staff said that there was actually one more scene at the end of the credits. I then stopped and watched the entire credits, realized that they didn't credit Grant Kirkhope for the DK rap, they just credited DK64 itself. But at the very end of the movie, they showed a scene where it's the Brooklyn sewers where a Yoshi egg begins to hatch. The screen then cuts to black, not before we hear Yoshi's voice, and that's when my heart started to melt. If there was one thing I was very disappointed when watching the movie was the lack of Yoshi. That was literally just 2 seconds, like, that was literally the only time we saw Yoshi in the movie. I'm more talking about, like, the Yoshi, the one we've seen in tons of Mario games. And I know some people are a bit let down that's not Wario or something, but honestly I really don't mind because I really love Yoshi. And I would honestly take Yoshi over Wario over anything, even their games. I'm sorry I said that, but that's pretty much who I am. But who knows, maybe Wario and Waluigi do appear in the sequel. I mean, they only teased Tails in the first movie and Knuckles showed up, so who knows. So yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the movie. I thought it was a pretty solid movie, a great solid B grading. It's pretty good, not the best anime movie you'll see, but if you really love Mario, I highly recommend trying this out. It is definitely a Mario movie that we've been waiting for. And when this movie gets successful, we will most likely see more movies like this in the future. So yeah, if you've seen this movie, I hope you enjoyed it, and for whoever watched this and just don't care about spoilers, I hope you have a good time watching this movie. But that'll do for today, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye!